Hey, what's up everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you with another video. I accidentally dropped my phone, clicked it off, it shut down the video. But yeah, I'm having a pretty solid day so far. As I was telling you guys in the other video, that I've been having some issues with shaving cream. Started being something that was drying my skin out. So I gotta find some new shaving cream today if I want to keep my routine of shaving my head every 2 days or 3 days. I had to throw that batch out, and that's pretty much it. So that's what I was saying before the camera got cut off. But yeah, aside from that, I'm doing pretty good, man. There's nothing pressing going on my side of the street. Just trying to take care of my day's errands and try to get back here in time for the Lakers Summer League game, for which should be pretty fun for basketball head like me. And so yeah, man, just feeling good, man. Hoping that everybody's having a good 4th of July weekend. You know, I was very sad to hear that this guy that I follow online, it's one of them dudes that is from this area named Fort Extras, blew his hand off yesterday with one of them fireworks, man. Were we talking about this? It was really, really sad to see, because it had so much, it's so much attached to that situation other than him just messing with fireworks. It's a lot going on there. You could tell that there's something else going on. And I know it's gonna sound strange, but we'll get into it. So Fort Extras is a guy who's from a community out here, blue team, and he's known online for being a knockout artist, a puncher. You know, some guys in the hood do this, some guys in the hood do that. He's a fighter. He beat people up. And he made a name for himself online, trying to improve his circumstances, getting in there with no jumper and all of that. And you know, that's kind of how he got his name. It's somebody who not only talks that talk with a demonstrative, wild, kind of aggressive personality, but also somebody whose reputation checks out. And so I was listening to Poetic Flacco talk a lot about him yesterday. And that's kind of what he was saying. He was like, yo, this dude, he makes his name and his lore is off of being able to punch and beat people up and be, you know, an enforcer in his neighborhood with his fists. And you can imagine how much damage he's done with his hands, only to have what makes him strong be taken away from him. And you think about what he was recently doing online. He had got into it with somebody who was misunderstanding him. I watched a little bit of the excerpt from No Jumper, and granted, a lot of this stuff from No Jumper is entertainment. And where does it end? Where does it begin? Who knows? But he had gotten into it with this brother from St. Louis, who also calls himself someone from a community out there, same team. And essentially, they were having a misunderstanding. I guess the guy from St. Louis didn't understand this other brother's energy. And they were having conversations, and St. Louis guy was like, why do people from LA don't respect how we move, you know, in other places? Why is it that the LA gang team don't respect the guys that are on the same team in other areas from out of state? And he was trying to tell him, express it to him, but the disconnect between the cultures made it so that the St. Louis dude was thinking that he was being pressed. And so he responded in a way that was indicative of that. And Fort Extras kind of got up and got a little angry. But as somebody from LA, I've been around people who have that same energy as Fort Extras. I would have never thought that it was actually something to escalate from my end. Like, been around dudes that are demonstrative. You know what I mean? They're all over the place. They putting their hand in your face. They doing a lot. They intimidating. But like, if you understand their perspective, you understand that they ain't about to just swing on you. They got a lot to lose. You know, he's on TV. He's trying to be a personality on here. Punching you out on camera ain't gonna be something that's in his best interest. He ain't that out of control. But I think the brother from St. Louis, he used to people a different way out there. They do things different. That type of energy is met with a different type of expectations. So that's what I took from that little exchange. And eventually if all extras took him wrong, and then he got up and said he would have punched him out, and it became a little bit of a scene. And the brother, the dude from St. Louis, a smaller guy, he ain't about to have no success getting into a physical altercation with the 4 extras. So he kind of stayed seated and kind of apologized. And I think what ended up happening was the brother, I guess, walked away from that feeling like he had been punked. Not necessarily punked like we know it in the TV show where someone's pranking you, but punked as in, you've been belittled, had your card pulled, or, you know what I mean? Somebody's marking you out, essentially saying that you've been seen by the rest of the public as weak at this point. You didn't stand up for yourself. You couldn't stand up for yourself. It wasn't in your best interest to bid in a battle like that, no different than it was for 4 extras to do so, right? Because you're trying to make your way, or what have you. So online, at the end of the day, what ended up happening was the brother who was on the wrong end of that, St. Louis brother, found himself yesterday on the 4th of July doing some type of what looked like a voodoo seance or something in the middle of a park somewhere, bringing all types of sacrifices and all different types of sweating, running, and he was doing all types of stuff that is indicative of doing voodoo. He was intentional on doing something spiritual yesterday where he was at. Right after this had went viral, in this moment it went viral, it appeared he had a vendetta to get off in regards to this particular seance he was doing. And sure enough, and mind you, the brother in St. Louis is filming this. This is why we know it happened. This is why we have these ideas that this took place, because he literally put himself on camera doing the seance. So right after the seance ended, the situation with 4 extras took place. Like right afterward. 4 extra literally, as soon as this dude finished, basically from my understanding, as soon as this dude finished this seance, that's what 4 extras blew his hand off. His own hand off. With these like M80s, I don't know what you call those type of firecrackers, but on this side of the country, 4 extras is filming himself going to some type of fireworks shop, buying fireworks, and he's saying the words, "I'm gonna blow somebody's house up. I'm gonna blow something up. Something getting blown up." Using his words, speaking the life of what was about to happen to him. He said, I may not blow up nobody's house, but I'm blowing something up with these. And he was really excited. And you see his hand. He's filming what it is he's trying to purchase. And you see the hand that's about to get blown up in the camera. You don't see his face. You hear him talking. You see what he's picking up, but you see the hand. Just regular. Like, he's picking stuff up. He's holding them in his hand. It's like, oh, man, this is terrible. This is awful. And then I guess he takes them wherever he was headed and doesn't let go of them fast enough after lighting them. Or maybe they malfunction, I don't know. But, I mean, the picture of him sitting down with his hand just completely mangled is very, very graphic and very, very disturbing. You see a lot, and it ain't pretty, man. The man calls himself 4 extras based on his affiliations with his community. And the way they throw up their gang sign is they throw up their 4 fingers. Those are the fingers that are gone. He's a puncher. He lost his thing that makes him strong. He said he was gonna blow something up. He blew off his own hand. He's probably done a lot of damage with those hands. He just had a moment where he embarrassed somebody who was smaller than him, essentially bullying somebody. That person did some type of voodoo at the same time this happened. It's a lot going on there, man, that ain't got nothing to do with anything of the world. When you speak life into your words, when you say certain things, we talk about that, you speak life into it. spiritual stuff. You don't know who you're toying with. Just because somebody's smaller than you don't mean they don't have no ways to get to you or hurt you, whatever way they may. Did the punishment fit the crime? No. Is there a world where none of this is related? Sure. As a spiritual person, am I going to ignore this? No. No. Heck no. Heck no. Have shown me in too many different instances in my life have I seen where things have been a little weird spiritually. Stuff like this, where people say certain things and then things happen. People run their mouth, bring karma about themselves in a bad way, doing silly things that we talk about not doing. The biggest person who never lose a fight sometimes gets humbled by the universe, sometimes speaking the life into existence, bullying people with the same hand that gets exploded. If you don't see spirituality in his situation, I don't tell you. I don't know what to tell you, man, because it's all there. It's all there. And the misunderstanding how the devil get in the way, having you thinking you dealing with somebody who's trying to hurt you, when that reputation speaks for itself. That's another thing. It's a little different when somebody who ain't known for beating up people get up and has a demonstrative energy about themselves when they're on camera. Who knows what they're going to do in the clout station situation. I don't blame St. Louis for thinking maybe this could go left. I don't blame St. Louis for being offended or being embarrassed and having a vendetta against this brother. I don't know if you can effectively, by way of what it is that we understand in the world, blame St. Louis guy for what happened to homeboy who blew his own hand up. I don't think there's a world where you're going to actually bring charges against somebody for having a seance. No. Or having some type of voodoo ritual. No. There's no way you can actually do that in this world. Maybe 1,000 years from now, when we have a bit more understanding of this type of stuff, you could charge a guy with doing a voodoo seance. But as far as I can tell, Forex did it to himself, right? He blew his own hand up. That man wasn't even in the vicinity. So, there are going to be worldly individuals who are going to say that the St. Louis brother had absolutely nothing to do with that, and they're going to have every bit of the evidence necessary in the world we're in to say he didn't. And that's where it begins and it ends. That's just what it is. But I'm telling you, as somebody who's spiritual, there are people in this world who can have testimony that this type of stuff has truth to it. Truth to it. And this is just one that we've seen on camera. There are things out here in this world that we don't understand. We can't pretend like we are in this world alone. There are energies out there that we haven't mastered, and especially in this Western world where money's about is what the focus is for everybody. Money and power is not the most powerful energies in the world. I'm telling you, it's not. And those of us who are spiritually bankrupt could find ourselves in the wrong spaces, man. And look, what also stood out about that demonstration in regards to 4 Extras and homie from St. Louis was that the brother from St. Louis, when 4 Extras started acting like, he said something about how I'm a prophet of God. He said, I'm a prophet of God, man. You can't do that with me. He said something like that. And 4 Extras said, I love God too. Everybody love God, but you can still get socked out or something. And so it's like, yo. But I will tell the brother from St. Louis is one thing. When you have intentions of hurting somebody with your spiritual energy, what you also are doing is bringing about a loser energy to yourself. The devil is a loser, bro. So any of his tools, any of the different things that he uses, it's usually, in the metaphor of what it is that we're seeing, meant to backfire on the one who uses it. And this is what I know. This is what I know is also someone of a God, someone who also speaks to the Lord. I don't call myself a prophet of God because that is not something I know myself to be. But what I can say is I know him well enough to know this, and I can say this with a lot of love in my heart. You don't want to assume that just because you've been able to effectively hurt somebody with spiritual energy, that energy is essentially yours to will their will. It's not. If the Lord wanted to get at somebody in the way that he did, and he allowed you the grace of doing whatever you did, you got to understand that that's all it is. And if for some reason you don't realize it to be the Lord's grace, you do understand that you're toying with the energy of the enemy, and he ain't really doing anything for the benefit of anybody, at least of all himself. So when you toy with stuff that he has, thinking that you're going to use it to hurt other people, you can best believe that whatever it is that you're wielding, it's likely going to hurt you too. So I'll tell anybody who wants to do spells, voodoo, this and that, if it's meant to do harm, it's likely going to explode in your hand. That's what I'm here to tell people. That's what I know for certain. And there are a lot of people in our community, black people all over the world, who believe in using spells and voodoo. They've been using this stuff for generations, for good and bad. And I'm telling you, if you toy with the Lord's energy, or you toy with the enemy's energy, or however that's defined, don't think for 1 second that you're just some all-worldly, powerful wizard that can just do whatever you want to anybody who harms you. The Lord say, vengeance is mine. And he didn't give you the ability to do these things to just inflict a significant amount of revenge on somebody that doesn't fit the crime. And if a brother embarrassed you, and you do something spiritually that you hope is returned to him, a permanent loss of the hand, something that hurts him that bad, that's wickedness. That's wickedness. Because he's never going to recover his hand. You're going to recover your ego. You're going to recover your reputation. You're going to recover. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I would tell the brother from St. Louis. Like, listen, you didn't cross over into a dark space if that's what your intention was, bro. And if you're a wicked person, believe me, you're on the losing side. There's no winning there, bro. There's no winning there. Devil's a liar, bro. He's a cheat. And the only thing he ever intends to do is hurt the people who work for him, who do his deeds. And the wiser way is always the better way. I was listening to, as I often do, Joe Budden. He was essentially saying to one of his co-hosts, the co-host was expressing a certain goodness that Joe Budden identified. He said, man, I don't even want to be that good of a person. I don't even tend to be that good of a person. I'm like, listen, bro, yes, in the spirit of all things being equal, maybe you don't. Maybe you like having a little mischief attached to your name. Maybe you don't want to have as much. Maybe it doesn't make you feel as good allowing for certain things to go on without you getting the upper hand or whatever. Maybe you're in a world where you don't see, or you haven't been raised to believe that being the best version of yourself is the only thing to desire from within yourself. But I'm telling you, as sure as I know this, the wiser path is always the better path. If you're doing things the wrong way for intentions to benefit yourself, on the back end of whatever it is you think you benefit, you end up hurting yourself. It's just like having a 380 in your hand. You hold too long, you will blow up your own hand. You always want to be the better version of yourself you can. Always. In every area. What I've learned from being a person who once wanted to be as bad as I wanted to be. The Lord is telling me, hey, don't do this. I don't want to do it anyway. It feels better to do this. Yeah, but I know what's going to happen to you later, the Lord was telling me. Yeah, but no, I don't care because I'm having fun now. But it's not worth it. Yeah, but this is what gives me the best reputation in the world I'm in. But the Lord says, I created the world you're in. And I'm telling you, the only path you should want is the one that makes you your best. You don't want to be bad in this area, bad in that area, because it will eventually go left. This is what the Lord has been showing me in my life. And so when I hear people say, I don't want to be that good of a person in that area, because it don't feel right, believe me, that side of you that feels that is not attached to God. He wants you to be your best in every area, to purge all sin from your life, not only so that you exalt him, but so that you avoid the pitfalls that come with sin, which really suck. So if there's an area of life where you see someone else being better than you, you should strive to be them and to want in that way, not be them, but be like them in that way, so that you can avoid the pitfalls of being flawed in the areas you are. somebody says, I want to be more giving, and you say, nah, I don't want to be giving, or what it is you're holding on to, and in the intention of not being given is likely going to be something that's not forgiving toward you. Being bad has bad results attached to it in every area for which it will be that. And that's what I've learned. You always want to be a better person. If you flawed in the area, cool, but don't desire to allow the devil to keep you flawed in areas, because at the end of the day, in the world we're in, it's governed by the God, and he wants us to purge ourselves of sin, all sin. Though it may not be possible, we should be striving toward it, not only because to keep him happy or to keep him feeling like we are obedient to him, and to stranglehold ourselves so that we can have less and all these different things that people perceive when they don't do certain things they have no business doing, but because the truth of the matter is the devil is a liar, and he wants you to think that so that you continue to do things that leave you flat, instead of allowing the Lord to exalt you in the spaces for which blessings can be found. And so I said all this to say, this brings me back to my ideology about not necessarily wanting things to be perfect, but wanting the Lord to strengthen my mind so that I can be who I need to be for the circumstances ahead, regardless of what they look like. That he structure my head so that I can live with or without whatever losses, whatever comes with, whatever responsibilities, whatever sacrifices need to be made, whatever disappointments, whatever exhaustion, whatever things that make me bigger and happy and fat and happy, for which can make me weaker. Whatever the best is for whatever it is I'm receiving, regardless of how much or how little it is, I want to be wired correctly for that reality, rather than something to fit the mind that I have, which is flawed in nature. So as to say, I don't have a car. I don't want to be frustrated that I don't have a car. I want to feel better about walking. If I'm forced to go back to school, I don't want to hate having to go back to school. I want to look forward to what I can gain from the conditioning of my brain training for whatever I'm doing. If I have to live without somebody, I want to get to a space where the void that I feel alone is something that ultimately I thrive under, rather than asking the Lord to bring me someone to fill that void absence of anyone. If that's what it's going to be, the mind to be conditioned for the realities of my life, because there's always going to be trials and circumstances for which I may not be happy, but that he can make me happy in those trials is the beauty of a relationship with God. So as to say to a guy like 4Extra, now the prayers for him should be, Lord, make it so that I can be one who still has his career without his hand. Make it so that I can still be able to defend myself in the event I need to, however necessary, now that I don't have my hand. Make it so that I'm able to get what I need so that without my hand, I can still thrive in life. These are the type of things that now he has to pray for. You know what I mean? These are the type of things that he's going to have to adapt to. And so his mind's going to have to condition for whatever comes with that. You want to be strong enough and at peace enough in your life to live with or without whatever your reality will be. And that relationship with God is the only way you're going to really have a line drive to that for which is your best conditioning of the mind. So as to say, in the context of what we're talking about, Joe Budden said he don't want to be better in a certain area because that just don't seem right to him. The relationship with God should shift Joe into saying, Lord, I want you to make it so that my mind can be where it needs to be so that I can live without what it is I need to give up in order to be the person that I ultimately otherwise don't want to be. If I don't want to be good in this area, if I don't want to be the dude that's constantly giving away all my money, make it so that my mind is conditioned differently so that I can be someone who's more happy with giving away the money, and rather than somebody who needs to keep his money or praying prayers that keep people from asking for it or whatever the heck, you know what I mean? Make me stronger with being broker, if that's what it comes down to. See to it that my path thrives in the spaces from which I can live with whatever you got going on in my life, so that I'm never in a space where I crumble, so that I'm never in a space where I can't function or focus, regardless of what's going to happen, regardless of how much bereavement I may face, regardless of what so close to me may be taken away. I still want to be able to have a way where I'm not looking to destroy self out of the weakness of what it is that I've lost. Maybe trauma's coming ahead. Maybe unmeasurable suffering may be ahead. I want to be able to be conditioned and strong enough for the level that is coming. Not for the level I fathom I can deal with, but the level that is actually ahead for my life. Because if I'm the person who has to live without my left leg, I don't want to be somebody who feels they can't survive without it. If I'm somebody who has to live alone, who never has a family, I don't want to be somebody who can't function because I think I need one. If the person that I want to be with in my life, if not, she ain't the right one, make it so that I'm thriving in a space from which to live with that, receive that, and still welcome good things upon us both. Instead of somebody who, because I can't be with this person, now learn to hate her or find hatred in myself or find myself shunning all love or whatever the heck may be. You want to be absolutely and utterly conditioned for what is, not necessarily make it so that there's contingencies on how well you're able to deal or that you will not do what the Lord wants you to do based on those contingencies. He can change your mind. He can change your conditioning. He can adjust what it is that your strength level is so that you can deal with whatever it is. And that should be what you're asking for. Not for an easier life. Not for a way to get around sin. Just like we talked about in regards to sinful fears, as we talked about. Fears that only come about because of the lack of faith in life, or because of sins that ultimately you don't want to quit. Lord told me not to come with him with that. I'm not interested in that. What you need to do is ask me how to help you live without those sins, so that you and me both can be happy. Instead of you asking for me to do certain things around those sins so that you can keep them going. Don't come to me with that. That's what the Lord was essentially telling me. And this is in that same ballpark. Don't come to me telling me you want to stay flawed. Come to me telling me you're trying to get stronger. Come to me telling me you're struggling with wanting to be stronger. And ask for help in that area. So that you can be righteously conditioned for what it is that is coming for your life. What I've written already in your life. And so that's what the Lord is essentially telling me to tell all of y'all, man. And there's no reason within our weakness to be so frustrated as to wish worse upon people who may have made a mistake in our lives, that we're doing things that ultimately coerce them into worse places, significantly worse places. That's an evil math. Just like we talk about with genocide, it's an evil math. They talk about they want to kill off 7,000 or 8,000 Palestinians for every Jewish life, or whatever the crazy number would be. You want to blow somebody's hand off for embarrassing you? That's evil. You should know that's the devil. It's the imprint of his intentions. It's to make you significantly more wrathful than what was naturally been pointed at you, instead of forgiving, which is a godly trait. Understanding, which is a godly trait. All that energy you pouring into being wrathful, why can't you pour that same energy and that same seance, that same meditation into becoming better? Into asking the Lord to make 4 extras better. To humble him before the Lord. Instead of taking something from him with your spiritual energy. How come you can't give him something? It's how you use this spirituality. How you use your voodoo is ultimately determines your character. Don't tell me that all you can do is harm somebody just because you've been harmed. What kind of self-exhaustion, devilish nonsense is that? Challenge all of you spiritual people to be better, because a lot of y'all, all y'all want to do is exalt yourself, and in the same energy, you're exalting the enemy. You ain't doing nothing for the good of the spirit of the world. We got plenty of people bringing curses out here indirectly. We don't need people with spirit bringing about curses on purpose. I'm sorry. It gets to a point where you got to have these conversations. And because most of the world don't even believe in this stuff, or isn't spiritually awakened enough to even have these type of conversations, they never happen. Stuff like this goes unchecked. Or people are afraid of these people, so they dare not. Not me. Not me. I looked that brother in the eye, the St. Louis brother, and said, you know you're wrong. You know damn well you shouldn't have did that to that man. If that's what you was intending to do, and even if it wasn't what you were intending to do, that you would make content off of his suffering. So, which is what he did afterward. We didn't talk about, but like, he came up there and showed his right hand with black nail polish on it. Right after that man had his hand blown off, essentially saying this is what my intention was to do in the first place. It's a very key point I probably should have brought up already, but like you doing stuff like that, you using your spiritual gifts and your power for the harming of your brother makes you no different than any other enemy that does the same thing in other forms, man. I just want to put that out there. Whether you're using spirituality to do it or worldly things like pointing a gun at your brother, it's the same crime done by the same brother that's supposed to be your cousin, supposed to be somebody who wants to see better for you. At some point in time, we can't hold everybody else accountable for the energy that we point at one another, being so very wrathful. You can use that energy to blow somebody's hand off. Why don't you use that energy to change the world, bro? You can sit up there and sweat and do all types of seances to blow somebody's hand off. Why don't you do that energy to help find them little girls in Texas or whatever? Can you tell us where some missing people are? Can you do something to save people? Can you end the genocide? Since you got all this spiritual energy for another brother who may have embarrassed you on TV, how about you use some of that voodoo to do something good for the world? Or does it not work that way? You say you love God, you're a prophet of God. God told you to blow another man's hand off? Come on, bro. Stop playing. Stop toying with energy that you know. If you know God, you know that energy ain't no good. But it can be used for good and you chose not to, and that's going to have a reverberating effect on you, just like playing with them bombs is going to have or fireworks had a reverberating effect on him. And all the other things he did with his hands that he shouldn't have did that led him to sin. This conversation is not for those who don't believe in nothing but money and the world around them and feeding their own physical. There are a lot of people who may follow me like, what is this guy talking about? What is this guy talking about? I just want you to know. The same thing I just said about a minute and a half ago. It's no different, man. When it comes to spiritual energy versus physical worldly weapons, there's absolutely no difference. It's just the know-how, man. That's all it is, the know-how. You pick up a gun to shoot at somebody, or you pick up a bunch of items that are used for voodoo to hurt somebody. It's still the same energy. The Lord and the devil recognize it the same way. It's just that we are in a world where we don't understand these things amongst ourselves in the Western world. So that looks like some mythical way of doing things. No, it's just an understanding of science that we haven't mastered yet, but maybe people in the backwoods have figured out. It's just an item that human beings are capable of using to do either good or evil. And a lot of times, the people who use that stuff, they don't do it for good. They do it for stupid stuff like this. As to which it's a communication with the enemy that continues to deteriorate at their people. And you wonder why they never get up. Wonder why they're always under the foot of white supremacy in a lot of cases. Why their lands keep getting terrorized by the enemy's people. It's because a lot of times y'all engage in the same energy and welcome it to yourselves and continue to toy with it like you don't know that it does that. That's why. This is why. When I look at places where voodoo is utilized a lot for evil, where it's known for people playing with that type of stuff, do you know they've had a lot of natural disasters and calamities that have come their way to wipe away their people? People just wiping them away, or a flood come through and wipe away the whole city. It's consistent, man. And it's not because the energy itself is evil. It's because they use it for evil. Just like we say money's the root of all evil. No, money is a tool that can be utilized for good and evil, and people tend to utilize it for evil, or allow their evil intentions to bring them toward more of it. If people only did good things with money, wouldn't be a lot of bad going on with money. If people have a relationship with God when going toward money and were less selfish about money, it wouldn't be as much evil being done around money. It's the tool and how it's being utilized. Same goes with spiritual tools and spiritual weapons. If you're using it to protect the good and the innocent, then good things can come to you. If you're praying for the discipline to strengthen yourself against utilizing it for evil, then you'll have that strength and it won't be utilized for evil. We got to discipline ourselves. The people who use the tools got to discipline themselves. And a lot of people use this analogy and they apply it to firearms. I don't know. I really don't know about that. I don't know. I don't think a weapon that is meant to destroy life solely meant to destroy life can be seen the same way necessarily. Because I don't know of many things that you can do with guns other than destroy. You can heal with voodoo. You can heal with money. I don't know that you can do that with guns. You could protect the innocent with guns, but even in the event you're trying to protect the innocent with guns, maybe something goes wrong. These type of tools, it don't have an ability to backfire on you unless your intention is to use it in a backfiring way. Something that doesn't, it's not meant to just destroy. People just use it to destroy things. Ain't the same thing. Praise God. I just forgot. There is a target right over there. I forgot. There's a target right closer target than that. It don't always have everything, but it'll have what I'm looking for. Okay, that's cool. I just realized that. It's right behind me. You can probably see the sign right there. Maybe not, but it's behind me about 4 blocks. But, I don't know if that applies to firearms, man. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it does, man. I don't think so. I know a lot of people want to use it that way, and God bless y'all if y'all have good intentions. You can protect a lot of people with firearms. I'd want my security to have firearms, but that's because I was raised in a culture where firearms are accepted. I don't know that it's not just an evil weapon. You know what I mean? I don't know that. But whatever the case may be, the point is, even in firearms, in the conversation, it's still relevant. What are the people using it for? What is their intentions? The people are what makes something good and evil in a lot of cases. What are your intentions with it? And so as we go forward in science, evolution, and they start finding out that there's something to this voodoo thing, which they will. There's something to voodoo, there's something to timing, there's something to God, there's something to all of this stuff. And you're going to understand it as you go forward. When you stop focusing so much on money, we'll definitely understand these things a lot better. Start going into our spiritual spaces and start praying for understanding to come. A lot of us don't know how to do that because we're too busy trying to play the money game. Even in the spaces where this type of thing is focused on, it's the money game. But whatever the case may be, we'll evolve through that. Our kids will be better than we are. The point is, when they find that something is to all of this, for which they will then come to understand what it is I just described, which is it's not special. It's not special. It's just special in modern times. And when we come to understand these things, we'll understand that they're just utilized just like anything else we utilize. You can't see air that is there. And now you can harness it and float things and all different types of stuff. You know what I mean? It's just one more area of science that we have to unlock. I see it that way already, and so I speak of it as if that's understood already. Use it for good. If you're gonna do this stuff, use it for good, bro. Don't use it for self-exhaustion purposes or self-vindication purposes for your ego. That's weakness. You're weak. You weren't strong enough to be embarrassed without wanting to do something to somebody else. You weren't even strong enough to interpret energy properly, which is what the devil wanted you to do. Be confused by that man's energy. Person like myself would have known I wasn't in no danger. He may be a dangerous man, but I wasn't in no danger. Until I do something that makes him unhappy, then I could be in danger for what you did in your response to what was a misunderstanding of energy. And what did that create? What did the environment that came from that misunderstanding? Just like any other devilish confusion. Something devilish. War's been started that way because somebody thought something wasn't what it was. I thought he meant he wanted to go kill me, so I better pull out a gun and shoot him. Well, now everybody coming back to kill you, and he didn't even want to kill you. You just didn't understand his energy. You just didn't get it. But if you had a relationship with God, that inner voice would have told you, yo, this man don't mean no harm. He ain't even in that mindset. He's entertaining the people. He ain't trying to hurt me. And if he were to hurt me, bad things gonna happen to him because I already know who I am, and I know what the Lord thinks of me. So if you lay a hand on me, that's gonna be bad karma for you. Your hand gonna blow up whether I do this seance or not. If that man, and I'm gonna say this and I mean it too, if that man's who he say he is, he say he's a prophet of God, then there was no need for a seance. No need for a seance. Same result happens whether you do that or not. Because the karma wasn't about you doing anything from your space of peace. It's about him welcoming the wrong things to him. That's a relationship between him and God. God say, I'm sick of you doing bad things with that hand. Messing with that man that I chose, it's the last thing you're going to do with that hand. And you want to play around with me, I'm going to blow that hand up. And I'm going to do it in a demonstrative way where everybody going to learn a lesson. You didn't have nothing to do with that. Unless you make it so that you did. And then the bad spiritual ramifications get to fall on your head while you thinking you strummed up something against this man. That was really just the devil aligning with the timing of the Lord so it can kick your behind and make your karma worse. You actually were doing a seance against yourself because that was going to happen to him anyway. You just attach yourself to it to welcome the karma of doing it to him to come back on you. That's what you didn't understand. That's what I understand. As a person who knows God, who knows better than to think that I, in my space of peace, can strum up bad energy towards somebody who's likely welcoming enough bad energy on themselves with their own choices and their own folly and their own intentions of hurting people. I don't need to do a damn thing. That man raise a finger to me, God's gonna get him. I don't have to do nothing. What I can do is worsen my own situation by having bad intentions toward him and welcome my own karma and my own sin. This is what a seance can do there. Just telling y'all, man, we got to get to a point where, especially spiritual people who believe they have a connection with God, you got to understand that you are not God. Wrath ain't yours. He don't want you using none of what it is that he's giving you for good toward hurting nobody, even if they deserve it. That's not your place. And as I told y'all, the Lord told me, don't ask for destruction for my enemy. Ask for instructions for my enemy. Why? Because if I ask for the wrath may come and hit me and mine. The Lord don't do nothing light. If he coming down with wrath, he bringing it toward the whole town, friend. So if you want wrath on your enemy and your enemy's in your vicinity, chances are you're going to be hit by what's going to be hitting your enemy. So don't ask for that. Ask for instructions. Them instructions will tell you not to turn your head back and don't turn into stone. When he come down with that Sodom and Gomorrah, that's what the instructions are for. Lord gonna do what he gonna do. Trusting is where you gonna be when he does it. When you align yourself with the bad karma circumstances, believe me, they're gonna come back on you. Believe that. That's poison for your stomach. And so that's what I want to tell people, man. We gotta stop toying with spiritual energy like we got some type of real power. Some of us do have the ability, but only at the behest of the Lord or the enemy of whom we serve in a lot of cases. Gotta stop serving him, man, because he's a loser and he gonna turn on you. The enemy gonna turn on you with that energy every single time. And the proof is already in time. We've already seen it. Some point in time, we got to start acting like we've seen things, man. Like we know what the heck is going on here. If we believe the devil's a liar, then stop doing the devil's deeds, man. Even if you feel inspired by somebody doing something to you. And like I said, man, if you don't believe in God or if you don't believe in no spiritual energy or you think everything is matter of touch and my urges and me getting paper and me finding happiness and that's it, and I don't care about being better for nobody else, I'm just trying to get mine because I'm gonna die someday. If that's what you want, believe me, man, it ain't gonna be a good path for you. Just like it ain't a good path for anybody that engages in that. You're gonna live, you're gonna die, you're gonna go wherever the Lord takes you, and you're gonna be forgotten or swept aside as somebody who was rotten. It's time for us to start evolving through some of this selfishness, some of these worldly ways that we have that just are truly only meant to line us up in the sights of the enemy as he points whatever at us to shoot at us. That's literally it, man. At some point in time, we just got to understand. Our best bet is to try to align with what the Lord is intending to do and don't get in the way. So I'll tell y'all, don't put your mortal life and your mortal soul in the way of this spiritual war that the Lord is engaging in with his enemy, man. That's between him and the enemy. You can put yourself in it, you can make yourself the center of it, and you're going to be caught in the crossfire of it every single time, man. Best thing you can ask for is to be conditioned for whatever your role is, and it's line up with God so you can be on the winning side. Otherwise, you're going to get run over, man. Bdf 44, I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.